其實我哋當年好多淹沒咗嘅歷史痕跡咧，其實可以用翻一啲近代一啲科技咧去重現翻出嚟，包括用 laser scanner 啦，包括用透地雷達啦，咁去將一啲大家已經可能遺忘咗啦，但係其實係我哋本地一份歷史嘅一個好珍貴嘅一個片段咧，去將佢重現翻出嚟。咁呢個項目計劃咧就係將我哋當年戰爭嘅遺跡用現代科技去表達出嚟。
其實而家咧喺香港、九龍同新界咧，你都會見到二次世界大戰相關嘅軍事遺跡嘅，譬如啲英軍起嘅水泥嘅機關槍堡啊、隧道啊、觀測所啊、炮台啊之類。另外就有3年0.8個月嘅時候，日軍佔領香港掘嘅一啲隧道啊、戰壕啊、野戰陣地咁都有。咁所以有好多種唔同類型嘅軍事遺跡。嗱，今日咧好簡單嘅啫，其實我哋做嘅嘢咧，主要就係圍繞住 PB202嘅一個 area 裏邊。
今次嘅目的就係上去揾翻佢究竟存唔存在啊，同埋佢個樣係咩樣啦，再睇佢 confirm 一次究竟佢係啲咩嚟咁樣樣。咁我哋呢度有其實2個 cluster 嘅，一個咧就係 PB 啦，同埋一個戰壕啦，同埋其他一啲隧道嘅可能嘅入口啦。我哋今日希望咧就首先去咗橙色3個人嗰隻 cluster 先。我哋就用呢啲衛星咧，就帶我哋去嗰個位。電話嘅準確度咧，可能幾米、10米都唔定，有時唔知飛咗去邊嘅。咁所以呢隻咧就我哋收緊香港地政處 satellite referencing 嗰個 entry service 咧就免費嘅，就可以去到 cm 級嘅準確度。咁啊，真係可以帶到我哋去 exactly 頭先我哋睇到嗰個戰壕啊，或者係碉堡咁樣樣咯，係啦。呢條山徑嗰度咧就會睇住個坐標咧去翻嗰個戰時遺跡。咁如果唔係咧，其實我哋唔知行咗去邊嘅。咁所以睇住個地圖，睇住嗰個 map， 收緊實時定位咧，就可以知道究竟我哋行咗去邊。咁而個準確度咧，就可能係以 cm 級計嘅準確度啦。如果密集咧，我哋如果係喺叢林裏邊咧，我哋就嘗試將個衛星舉高佢啊。咁咧就希望可以收得多啲衛星咧，就可以我哋叫做 fix 得好啲啦。咁但係喺呢個情況之下，我哋就冇辦法啦，因為個樹林太高啦。咁我哋咧就唯有等啦，係啦。咁同埋用一啲叫做我哋行山嗰啲技巧啦，叫做係就睇下究竟行咗幾遠啊，可能行咗20米、30米就差唔多到啦，咁再去揾咁樣。咁所以咧就要有科技啦，就好緊要嘅就係我哋人本身嗰個智慧咧，叫做係點樣去揾翻條路出嚟。有頭燈我哋2入啊！呢度前面有左右分叉，高度大概係80 cm 左右啦，咁樣。呢度個頭嗰度呢度啊，過嚟。呢度竇右邊度。哎呀，咁濕嘅情況之下，真係唔好亂嚟。明白。
我哋現場 inspect 就睇到佢係日軍起嘅嘢，因為佢可以係冇啊。呢度係個 position， 但係你前邊已經有個墓啦。但係呢個墓63年張相係冇嘅，呢個墓係後來先起嘅，就可以分得開邊啲係戰時 structure， 邊啲係後來起嘅嘢。咁我哋而家好清楚分得開啦。通常一去到英軍嘅遺跡附近咧，我哋就會見到當時嗰啲指示石，即係 direction slab 啦，個人叫。咁呢啲 direction slab 咧，其實就簡單啲講，就係英軍喺醉酒灣防線裏邊嘅路牌。呢度有個箭嘴指住條山徑。咁呢度寫咩咧？就係 BNHQ 同埋 COYHQ， 即係 Battalion Headquarters 同 Company Headquarters， 即係營指揮部同埋連指揮部。 咁兩個級數嘅指揮部咧，都係向住呢個山徑去到嘅。咁就即係我哋頭先出發嗰個位附近，係啦，就係個指揮部嗰個位。所以我哋已經咁樣群咗座山上嚟嘅。但係當時其實有條山徑直接咁樣行落去嘅，其實。去到呢度啦，我哋而家就真係喺現場，就真係你見到嗰個機關槍堡冇咗個頂之後，個水泥廊就喺度。咁呢個水泥廊咧，就同日軍畫嘅嗰個機關槍堡個 layout 係吻合。我哋喺呢度見唔到202呢個 number 嘅。咁但係我哋點知佢係202咧？就因為係日軍幫佢佔領咗香港畫佢草圖嗰陣咧，當時個門牌係仲有202嘅。咁同埋附近嘅嗰啲指示石咧，亦都會指到呢個係202。英軍喺醉酒灣防線咧，大概起咗90幾個機關槍堡，咁每一個機關槍堡咧就容納2至到4支、5支左右機關槍啦。咁但係其實個用處咧就唔係話叫啲英軍喺裏面度用嘅，其實更加多嘅時候咧，佢係期望個守軍係喺附近啲戰壕嗰度作戰嘅。咁個機槍堡本身攞嚟做乜咧？其實係攞嚟俾佢瞓覺。咁但係佢有2個槍眼，必要時佢可以喺裏邊打。醉酒灣防線大概就1934年起到1938年年中。咁個工程就終止咗，咁就全個醉酒灣防線都係呢啲咁樣機槍堡，有90幾個。今日仲現存完整嘅大概有3、4個喺九龍，咁另外就全部都好似而家呢個樣嘅呢個狀態就炸咗嘅，係啦，好多都係炸咗嘅。咁香港島有另一批機關槍堡，個設計有啲唔同，咁呢一款係早少少起嘅。嗰陣啲水泥咧好 coarse 㗎，好多石仔喺裏邊。佢外邊有層灰㗎，佢外面抿咗一層灰㗎。佢再喺外邊咧就擺啲石頭上扮山嘅一部分咯。嗰啲就唔係 for protection 嘅，呢啲就 for protection 嘅。所以咧其實咧呢啲咧上面仲有一層灰。
整個係咪好辛苦咧？好重喎好似。
佢用鐳仔運同埋 local labour 係啦。但係你見到今日冇鋼筋啊？點解咧？鋼筋殘咗。係啦。啲 scavenge 嚟連鋼筋都殘埋，即係佢攞咗磚頭攞埋鋼筋走。
咁我哋用嘅方法咧就同以前用我哋歷史嘅記錄有啲唔同。咁我哋用好多科技嘅方法去做呢樣嘢。咁其實我哋好多戰時遺跡就好似我隻手咁樣，咁啊淹沒咗喺啲密林裏邊。咁但係密林咧，令到大家都唔知道佢哋嘅存在。咁我哋可以用啲咩方法咧？土木工程拓展處嘅數據咧，我哋叫光達啦，喺上面咧，好似呢支 laser pointer 咁咧，射落呢個嘅密林裏邊咧，就見到一啲嘅密林裏邊之間嘅反射。咁所以我哋就知道佢距離同埋角度。咁知道咗呢樣嘢之後咧，因為飛機我哋有全球衛星定位系統啊嘛，咁所以我哋知道佢喺個地圖坐標係邊一度啦。咁就可以 map 翻咧成個地形出嚟。咁而地形咧裏邊好得意嘅，喺我身後呢條戰壕咧就凹咗落去，或者喺機槍堡咧佢凸咗出嚟。咁呢啲就係我哋地貌上面一啲叫做不自然嘅一啲嘅形態啦。咁我哋就將佢揾翻佢出嚟，揾翻佢出嚟之後咧就可以憑我哋而家喺身後一部 laser scanner 啦，就係去 scan 翻呢條戰壕或者其他碉堡出嚟，重新做一個三維立體嘅 model 嘅一個整合。咁咧就可以重現翻喺公眾面前啦。究竟原來嗰啲戰時嘅工事係點樣起啊？喺邊個位置啊？佢哋係點樣去防守啊？咁就交俾歷史學家咧，即係志文咧去再做一啲歷史傳承嘅。
以前咧喺香港做考古咧係好辛苦嘅，因為我哋係冇呢啲咁高科技嘅方法去揾嘢研究。以前我哋就會話要做一個 site survey， 就真係出去行山啊，去揾 surface level 有冇見到一啲嘢，好難知道其實地下面仲會唔會有嘢咯。
喂，早晨啊，各位！今日其實我哋要做嘅嘢好簡單嘅，我哋而家身處咧就喺歌賦炮台呢度 ，OK？ 咁係一個20世紀初起嘅炮台。咁我哋第一個地方而家呢個位就歌賦炮台啦，下低有一個叫砵甸乍炮台，係啦，一個6寸炮嘅炮台。咁然後我哋嘅後邊即係北面啦嚇，山上邊咧其實就有一個叫鯉魚門要塞，咁佢係一個步兵陣地嚟嘅。咁呢3個起嘅時間都差唔多，都係20世紀頭10年嘅。我哋喺63年航空相係見到有唔少嘅山窿，咁LiDAR嗰度都係有 show 到有好多個窿。咁而家就係去睇下嗰啲係咩窿啦。第一，第二就睇下會唔會仲有第二啲資料去到睇，到底佢哋係啲乜嘢，好冇？咁我哋基本上就分幾路人咯。
我當做住 co-remote pilot 先。一開始我都會做住，因為咧去到中途要訪問，咁我到時咧我都會喺度帶。我哋今日嚟呢度就係做一個航空嘅攝影測量啦。咁我哋最主要就係用LiDAR combine with drone 咁去做一個呢個 terrain 魔鬼山呢個 terrain 呢個炮台呢個位置嘅一個 mapping。咁我哋就可以攞到好多一啲反射啦，可能當中包括樹啦、地啦，甚至乎係一啲 Pillbox 啦、trenches 嘅一啲反射。咁攞完數據最主要之後就做一個後數據處理啦。咁其實我哋呢個過程中其實 take 咗2 type data 嘅，第一 type 咧就叫 LiDAR 啦，第二 type 咧就係相片。咁2 type data 其實都可以 form 到一啲唔同類型嘅 product。例如相片，我哋可以做一個photogrammetry form 一啲 mesh，which is 用一啲 high resolution 嘅 photos 啦，可以呈現翻一啲 visual base 睇嘅嘢。咁但係LiDAR 咧個用法就有啲唔同啦。LiDAR 可以有唔同嘅 return 嘅。Based on 唔同嘅 return 咧，我哋可以 filtering 咗一啲我哋唔想要嘅嘢，呈現翻一啲我哋想要嘅嘢。所以以前如果你睇63年飛機上咧等等咧，你會見到好多 change 啊，好多 Pillbox 係直接 directly expose。所以我哋而家做呢件事，其實我哋係somehow想將 vegetation remove 就做翻淨係一個 ground 嘅 layer， 咁從而去做翻一啲 interpretation。所以最主要就係做翻後數據處理，去 for 呢2個唔同 purpose 嘅 data。
咁咧上一次沙比咧就飛咗呢個歌賦炮台啦，同埋上面呢個魔鬼山呢個要塞咁樣。咁咧就可以我哋再加埋呢個airborne LiDAR 咧，就可以好清晰咧咁睇到咧嗰啲嘅異常位啦，叫做係。咁咧可能係一啲日軍嘅戰壕啊，或者啲窿啊、步兵陣地啊咁樣。
咁一 scan 完先，等我哋 UAV scan 咗一次，咁用埋佢哋呢個 data 再加埋去睇，夾埋。
咁啊喺到現場就睇下啲窿係咪即係佢哋係咪駁埋啦。咁啊，如果佢哋駁埋嘅話，咁我哋仲可以用一啲叫 mobile 嘅 scanner 咧，就將佢個 3D 再重現翻出嚟，係咯。咁啊，有啲地方就去 terrestrial 我哋嗰啲坐地嗰啲 scanner 去唔到嘅地方咧，就可以用 airborne 個 scanner 去代替。
UAV scan 完之後咧，就上去魔鬼山要塞，係啦，嗰個即係2個部分啦，一個就係英軍起嘅嗰個步兵嗰個陣地啦，另外就係日軍掘嗰啲窿。咁啊現場 scan 2樣嘢，上邊呢個。咁所以阿沙比佢哋 scan 完呢個咧，我哋而家就上去，就可以再做現場個 LiDAR scan。其實咧呢度你咪 scan 緊呢個嘅，而家呢度 scan 緊呢個，唔知你哋會唔會揾得翻啊？就係咧，其實做呢個 structure 嘅嗰個部隊留咗個 logo 喺度。係。咁呢度就係你當係一個呢個西嘅超級彩蛋。超級彩蛋。係啊，睇下你揾唔揾得翻個彩蛋啊！因為其實佢喺其中一幅石牆上面嘅啫。係。
聽唔聽到啊？我呢邊啊。
我哋揾到啦
1914咋？
但係唔知係咪 RE 喎喺度。
我哋揾到啦嘛？我都啱啱揾翻張相出嚟，係正方形嘅石嚟嘅。
正方形啊！
正方形啊嘛。
係啊。
係啊，呢度你見得40。
係冇錯。
跟住 COY 即係第40年 RE Royal Engineers 1914，呢個就係佢起好嗰年，咁即係第皇家工兵第40工兵年。呢個工兵年好得意嘅，佢有部分係華人嚟嘅，係咁佢一半華人，一半係英國人嘅部隊嚟，所以佢喺度起，咁就擺咗個 logo 喺度。呢個幾得意。
1914年起嘅。
係啦，1914年應該起好，係啦，應該起好，係啦。
咁今日個光都足夠可以做到攝影測量嘅方法啦。
咁其實咧呢一個咧就係 laser scanner， 我哋喺度做一個 scanning 嘅時候咧，咁咧佢咧就會去打啲 point cloud 啲牆啊、一啲樹葉啊，咁啊就會翻去嘅。咁當佢哋收到呢一個點之後咧，咁佢哋咧就會入邊咧就會可以做到一個point cloud 嘅 modeling 啦，咁就可以將呢一度呢啲牆啊，即係呢一個要塞入邊嘅 details 咧，就會保留咗落嚟啦，就會以一個 3D 嘅modeling 咧去呈現翻出嚟咯。因為呢個堡壘嘅範圍咧都真係好大啦，咁我諗因為我哋有時咧有啲要做一啲 geo-reference 嘅位嘅，咁就要擺啲 target 啦，咁嗰啲位咧就要用一啲 high 嘅 resolution 啦，咁用嘅時間咧就會多咗咯。咁如果就以呢一個規模嚟講咧，我覺得應該都要做至少100個 set up 啦，大概6-7個鐘頭時間咯。呢一個咧就係頭先所講嘅 GPS 啦。咁當我哋有呢個 target 嘅時候咧，啱啱已經做咗 laser scan 啦，咁我哋就會揾翻中間嗰個位咧，就去收翻呢一個位置，即係呢一點嘅 coordinate咧，究竟係乜嘢嘅？咁咧你就會見到啦，就係當你做咗 laser scan 嘅時候咧，入邊就會有一個呢個 target 嘅樣啦，放大咧去到中間呢個位咧，就入翻呢一點頭先我哋度嘅 coordinate 入去嘅，咁樣咧就可以令到個 model 咧有翻嗰個geo-reference 咁樣。
早晨啊，各位！我哋今日嚟到摩星嶺炮台。摩星嶺炮台其實有幾個stage 嘅。咁我哋而家嚟到呢度咧，其實見到啲嘢其實攏埋一嚿，因為佢又係海防炮台，佢又係高射炮台。我哋而家身處呢個 site 咧，其實就係高射炮台改建咗之後先有嘅 structure 嚟嘅。咁但係我哋今日 scan 嘅嘢咧，我哋 scan 幾樣嘢嘅，因為其實佢除咗炮台啦、高射炮台之外咧，其實同一個 site 咧仲有一個要塞炮兵指揮所嘅。咁當時其實咧就喺打仗嗰陣咧就炸爛咗嘅，其實，所以我哋去到見到嗰啲係廢墟嚟嘅啫，係啦。咁但係中間其實仲有1、2、3列咧係嘅嗰啲 shelter 嚟嘅，咁所以應該可以去 scan 嗰度。咁另外咧就可能會揾1個9D2去 scan， 就係而家呢個 mouse cursor 呢個位呢一個。嗱，咁我哋再右少少，你而家見到咧，其實就而家今日 YHA 嗰個位啦。呢度行入去其實就係個炮兵個指揮所，咁其實佢正式個名咧叫做Fortress Plotting Room。咁佢咧其實就成個港島西嘅所有固定炮台都係佢指揮嘅。咁所以個裏邊其實咧就好大嘅空間。咁中間就會有一個用水泥柱組成嘅一個大嘅 plotting table。張 table 唔見咗啦，點解咧？因為1941年12月就係有個炮彈打咗入去，個炮彈冇爆，但係個炮彈好大。打咗個好大嘅窿出嚟，咁所以大家就望住個炮彈，不如走啦。咁所以大家就離開咗嗰個炮兵指揮所，全部人就 evacuate 咗，但係個炮彈都係冇爆。咁後來佢哋就 remove 咗個炮彈，我唔知係日軍做嘅定係後來英軍做啦。總之個炮彈唔喺度噶啦，但係個彈打出嚟嘅窿就仲喺度。咁所以其實就裏邊個空間又好大，亦都有個好大嘅窿。
就喺而家 campsite 隔離嗰條 access floor。頭先我哋落車嗰個位嗰個 access floor，所以一開始落車我同志就爬咗去睇。係啦，咁如果真係入去咧，大家要帶頭燈，因為裏邊好暗嘅。我哋今日咧就4部 scanner，laser scanner，3 team 嘅同事咧就維持翻喺上面呢個complex 嗰度啦。咁因為範圍比較大，所以咧就要連鏡咧就諗3 team 同事會好啲。咁另外1 team 咧就落翻下邊嗰個 plotting room 嗰度咧，就去照嗰個頭先所講嗰個日軍炮彈打咗入嚟冇爆到嗰個位置。咁咧但係就小心偏鋒。咁大家記住咧就做 geo-referencing target， 因為我哋要同 airborne lidar 咧合併嘅，所以 that's why 一定要做 geo-referencing。去到邊度都 make sure 啲鏡係有睇到 target 嘅。咁一陣間就我哋會派翻個 target 俾大家，咁咧就大家可以攞住 target 去用。
呢度就係個 fortress plotting room， 咁你見到就係咧 plotting room 咧，你而家企呢個位呢啲水泥柱咧就係擺 plotting table 下低嗰啲柱，即係佢本身應該棟起一條條，跟住上面有個 plotting table 擺嘅。咁 fortress 咧隔離咧就 battery plotting room， 咁兩個黐埋嘅，其實佢咧就控制晒半個香港島嘅海防炮台。咁41年12月打緊嗰陣咧，就有一日就有個240毫米炮彈，應該何文田嗰邊射過嚟嘅，就日軍重炮聯隊佢哋射咗過嚟打，就咁啱打咗由呢個位打咗入嚟，係啦，咁所以就變咗咁，但係個炮彈冇爆。咁所以非常好彩，係啦，傷咯，但係冇死人咯。冇傷 ，OK。係啦，傷但係冇死到人，咁所以就大家見到咁嘅情況就走唔切。係啊，我哋而家其實都應該走嘅，因為係啊，你點搞？
我點搞？跟住一陣間咧，我哋就擺laser scanning 嗰啲三維立體掃描咧，就喺兩個角落，一個係就近呢個炮彈窿啦，咁咧就可以 scan 到成個炮彈窿嗰個三維立體個影像啦。另外一邊咧就擺呢個 corner 咧，就 scan 嗰個房本身嗰個architecture 啊，同埋個structure 本身。咁其實呢個位因為就唔係太大，所以2鏡到3鏡就可以將成個三維立體 scan 出嚟㗎啦。
嗱，你見到呢啲咧，真係好用咁大嚿鐵去 reinforce 個頂。我其實好少見。我對上嗰次見到就 Churchill War Room 有
Churchill War Room
係就係倫敦嗰個先嘅。另外其實香港咧就應該係大潭嗰個東耀賽炮兵指揮所，大潭嗰度係啦，都係咁樣。係啊，我覺得呢兩個有啲咁嘅規模。
咁呢個就將我哋當年個英軍碉堡咧，用個三維立體嘅 model 咧去表現出嚟啦。咁咧，所以你其實見到邊度彈痕啊，或者嗰個炸出嚟炸彈嗰個窿嗰個位置啊，或者甚至乎嗰個大細咧，都可以好清楚喺三維立體嘅情況之下展示出嚟嘅。咁如果我哋將呢個 model 咧擺喺嗰啲叫沉浸式嗰個嘅 cave 咧，或者叫做學習體驗咧，除咗畫之外咧，就聲音嘅。咁我哋通常咧就會喺 online 嘅渠道啦，去買翻一啲叫做當年戰爭嘅聲音，譬如機關槍啦、大炮啦，甚至乎哨子聲或者步操聲咧，咁就可以將大家真係去帶翻入去嗰個戰爭嘅畫面裏邊。大家學習體驗，可能你去睇地質啊，或者去睇一啲地理啊嗰啲咧，就會比較多啲嘅。咁但係睇戰爭咧，就好似係比較少啲嘅，即係大家都未即係可能未經歷過嗰場戰爭啦，甚至乎係唔知道嗰場戰爭曾經發生過啦。香港曾經打過17日半嘅戰爭，喺1941年嘅時候。咁翻到去嗰個沉浸式體驗咧，就可以俾佢哋一個更加嶄新嘅體驗啊！究竟原來當年原來係香港曾經係咁受苦過嘅咁樣。
So as you can see from this map, which is the map of the defense scheme in 1939, the interim defense scheme. So there is no British military structure in this area. The closest one would be the artillery position here with another defended locality here, PP45, which I don't know, some said it's a pillbox, some said it's a field position. So this is another defended locality. You see 2 locality pillboxes, but in this particular area, you don't have permanent British military structures here. But at the same time, it was a defended area. During the Battle of Hong Kong, it was defended by the Canadian troops, and the Japanese just overran their position. So during the Japanese occupation, you started to have the Japanese considering to turn this area into one defended locality. So in this particular, so far we haven't found any documents about it until a few months ago we came across this particular document.
I've been up and down this area here, and I don't believe it is here. If anything, there is a British structure, but it's further over here on Sumarsan.
But that would be the OP.
That is the OP, so that's why I think there's a little bit of confusion, because I have actually seen 45 also located in that on some maps. So I think over the years they've got a little bit confused, and I think they've been misplaced.
But this map is made by the British.
This is a British map, yeah, in 1939. So they changed the defense plan a bit, but until December 1941, nothing was built in Mount Parker, or Mount Parker, absolutely nothing. So that is why this particular piece of document is useful, because as you can see, this one is an order drafted by the Second China Fleet, ordering the Hong Kong base force, another subordinate unit, which was a 314 Construction Battalion, to build a field position in Mount Parker. So I've never seen anything specifically saying that they are going to build something on this hill. This is the first time.
So if they started this in May 1945 and they had to finish it by August 1945, they've done quite a lot in a short period of time.
Oh yes, indeed. And we checked the aerial photograph in February 1945, nothing could be found. So by 63 you can clearly see the exits and entrances, but in 1945 you have nothing there.
No spoil heap, no nothing, no construction has even started at this stage, has it?
So now we can actually confirm it was only built at least after February. But from the document, it could be as late as in May. Yeah. Only a few months before the end of the war.
So because of the size of this, I think it must have held a gun, a much bigger gun.
Yeah.
The ones that we found that are bigger, like bigger networks, it's much smaller, and it's literally one hole for fighting, shooting, and then hiding. Whereas this is big. This is,
They're clearly for storage, maybe an artillery position, maybe some sort of headquarters facilities. Admin and so on.
Yeah, there would have been a gun crew or something up here.
But the floor is quite rough, It's a lot of rubble, around here, so it's not fully.
It shows that it's not really completed. This side is relatively flat, and on the other side you can see it's still very rough, so it's incomplete in a sense.
So with the LiDAR, we actually can see from the sky, and so there are two entrances here. One is pointing to the north, one is pointing to the east. So we are here. We go the exit and 45. It's actually 3 altogether. So 1, 2, 3, and just 45 meters from that. Okay, go.
Grab lead.
Strange. Why our previous tunnel was all dry though?
Well, I want to go and have a look. I want to see what's around that corner, if there is a corner. Hello, dog.
It should be. You going down?
No, it just stops just there.
So is there a chamber on your right, Craig?
No, it just stops. It's only about 1 meter deep. It's not very deep at all. But it looks as though it's trying to go towards the other tunnels. So this could have been trying to kind of connect up to what we've seen over there. But then we suspect there's another tunnel a little bit further up as well. Aren't there 3 of them close by? One higher up and one parallel along?
So this side would be facing north.
And look, see how big these are? So this is where they would have had like an 8-inch wood to try and reinforce the side, right? 1, 2, 3. But it's much bigger than what you normally find. If you find just like normal sort of fighting tunnels, they're much smaller. This is big, so they're obviously expecting.
I have the feeling that those smaller ones were built by the Japanese army. And then the Navy would build the larger ones, just like what you have on other Pacific islands.
Yeah, pull handle, and the button facing you.
There's no real junction, it's just a little bit of a...
Oh, to the right-hand side is not a junction,
no,
right?
Just finishes here, but I can take a picture.
What an explorer.
It's what we're here for.
Yes. Yep. So, lock. Yeah. Great.
Oh, it's a typical Japanese foxhole. 1, 2. Okay. 4 small chambers.喂，掂啊！啱啱喺下低入呢邊出。通嘅，
咦？通㗎？
通嘅。
呢條邊條嚟㗎？
而家即係咁，我明啦。2個炮嘅窿喺下低，呢度有一個好似半月形嘅步兵陣地，扣咗喺佢上邊。你明唔明？即係咁樣，咁樣碼咗喺佢上邊，係啦。跟住全部望晒北，全部向晒北望，貨步兵，下低貨大炮，可能係啦。但係呢啲一定係貨步兵嘅，因為你見到有啲坑咧，俾一個人喺裏邊嘅。嗰啲單人坑嚟，係嗰啲單人嘅散兵坑嚟。
I've been looking into Japanese tunnels for a long, long time, and I've been doing it the hard way by using sort of at first just old maps. Then I started to use aerial photography, but now seeing that what we can do now with LiDAR has just made it so much easier. So it's just cut out hundreds of man hours of just searching around the hills randomly. So being able to have such precise information to let you walk right onto position is really time saving and really helpful to have.
Well, I started working on this kind of topics as a military historian. I mainly work as a desktop historian. It was not until like 5 years ago when we started really go up to the hills and see things ourselves. And then a few years later we met Wallace, and Wallace really brings us to a new level of the understanding of the battlefield itself. So I started to work with the Battle of Hong Kong and the subsequent Japanese occupation only with the documentary sources. We read the documents and text, and sometimes we read maps, but not very seriously until we started doing our own GIS projects. But then when we met Wallace, and then we find out our GIS work actually almost like seamlessly match with your geospatial works. That really brings us into a new level, because we can have an up-close, upfront experience of all these battlefields and etc. For example, I never actually intended to work on Japanese tunnels. And at the same time, really you can see the extent of the Japanese works and so on. But some of these works are incomplete, and it really forced us to go back to our sources. For example, this time we find a piece of Japanese order about construction of the field position on Mount Parker. So this is actually a rare found. So on the one hand, it helps us to find new stuff, and on the other hand, it really forces us historians to reread our sources critically, from a spatial perspective especially, so that we can really have a more clear picture of the whole thing, which is, I think, very good. Yeah.
A few years ago, we didn't know each other, and then I mean, with the technology that we have in the lab, and then suddenly we realize that actually it can do a lot more than we think of. And initially, when we start to map the water pipes underground, archaeologies on stuff, even the time capsules in the different government sites, we didn't really think about it to work on this kind of interesting, we call it heritage.
And clearly this is not for glorification or celebration no, in a sense, not even a commemoration. It's more like a record of a very complex times when people from very different backgrounds suffered together in this place. So yeah, it's more like, and you don't really have many physical relics in this city, but things change so fast, construction, destruction, and so on and so on. So you don't have lots of relics in the city to talk about the story physically. So this one is a rare example. Well, I think that's The historians had a unique role to play in this because you have an opportunity to really introduce the diversity of historical experience. Because well, back then, during the Second World War, there were more than 1.5 million people in Hong Kong, living in Hong Kong from different backgrounds. So they had many different experiences during the war. So I think the historians can really contribute to this endeavor by highlighting the diversity of historical experience as much as possible. For example, you don't just focus on soldiers. You just don't focus on the soldiers. You focus on maybe civilians from different backgrounds, women, children, old people, whatever. So they suffered as well. So maybe previous studies would focus too much on the soldiers. So maybe in the future, when we talk about the wartime experience, for example, these tunnels, many of them, as Craig said, were dug by civilians under military supervision. So
Forced labor.
some of them would be, yeah, some of them were prisoners of war, in fact. So it's very important for us to remember these experiences that are very easily overlooked in narratives about war. So yeah.
But these geospatial technologies, give us a brand new perspectives. So we used to read maps in 2D, but now it's 3D like Siemens GIS, like my airborne lidars, and then give us a chance to prove it. When Craig, you come here, actually see it. It's we give a coordinate on it, and when these things put together, then we can contribute a lot on historical interpretations, scientific advancements, and for us to know a little bit more than what's happened in the past, in a ways that is never perceived before. But this 3D, or even we are actually making a story map on how the troops proceed from different locations according to the terrain that we constructed with the airborne lidar whatsoever. I think it's actually end up a new chance of proper engagement, a new chance for the next generations to learn about history and technologies, and they are not isolated. They are not alone. They can work together. History, the interpretations, the technologies, even though we talk about mathematics or physics behind how this technology works, how the satellites, network being set up, what is meant by georeferencing. So these are the knowledge that is all behind the visible items, history technologies. Actually, then drags the kids, the next generations, even deeper to understand the what we call the cross-discipline subject knowledge as well. So I think it is a very important perspective of our work, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing for us historians is that it really gives us a lot more solid ground for future research. Yeah, because as Craig, you just mentioned, in fact, we historians, when we do our military history, sometimes it's more like impressionistic or partial knowledge of the whole thing. So because when I wrote the books about the Battle of Hong Kong, I haven't myself visited many of the battlefields. So with all these technology, especially the GIS and the geospatial technologies, we can actually accumulate all these different types of data. Sometimes the different data sets, we accumulate them in a single platform so that we can actually build up our knowledge base and accumulate the knowledge so that we can have more interpretations or more clear understanding of what happens in the future. And as for the public side, I think a more graphical representation of what happens would be useful on the one hand. But on the other hand, what I think is more important is that you have the opportunity for the public to also engage and help with the process of accumulating more data.
我哋做咗咁多 scanning， 今日就翻到嚟呢個混合沉浸式虛擬環境。翻嚟攞到數據之後咧，我哋就會將佢擺落呢個 Hive 裏邊啦。咁將一啲叫做我哋當時嘅戰爭遺跡啦，加埋一啲嘅戰爭時候嘅聲音啦，同埋一啲展示咧、解釋咧，帶翻喺公眾面前咧，俾大家翻去當時嘅環境去感受嗰場戰爭嘅情況。其實唔單止係香港，我哋希望可以將呢套嘅科技咧帶去唔同嘅世界、唔同嘅角落啦，可以揾翻一啲唔見咗嘅二戰遺跡，甚至乎係一啲消失嘅文明。